Hey guys, it's Darwin, and the quest is finally over because I found my perfect tent. Alright, so if you've been following along here on the channel for about the past 6 months, I have been on a hunt, on a journey, on a quest, if you will, to find my perfect tent. And what makes my perfect tent? Well, I want a tent that uses one trekking pole to set it up, that is fully enclosed, which means it has a net going all the way around, and a bathtub floor. I want it to be made out of DCF, super simple to set up, really good packability so it doesn't take up a lot of room in my pack. And the number one thing is to be long enough because I am 6'1" and I have had a ton of problems with condensation getting my foot box wet because it's too close to the wall. Well, I own a bunch of tents, and you guys know that I love the Z-Packs Duplex. I've used it a ton in the past, but my big problem with it is it uses 2 trekking poles, and I only use 1 trekking pole now. Plus, I do have to sleep in it diagonal to get enough room. So a 2-person tent basically becomes a 1-person tent for me. I tried the Z-Packs Plexamid last year, and it was a good tent, but it just wasn't long enough, and I had that horrible condensation problem waking up almost every single morning with a wet footbox. I tried the Z-Packs Hexamid Pocket Tarp, which is great, lightweight, simple, but it's not fully enclosed, and I probably would never use it on a wet or buggy trail. And I even tried a completely different brand of tents and bought the Tarp Tent Aeon Li, which is awesome, has a ton of room, pretty easy to set up, but it's not the most simplistic design. It has all those different rods that go in the corners, it has the rod that goes in the top, and it does not pack down. I mean, this thing is pretty long, so I couldn't put it in my pack horizontally. I had to put it in there vertically, and for me, that's kind of a deal breaker. So a handful of months ago, I started searching for a new tent that ticked off all those boxes, that would get closer to what I would consider a perfect tent. I reached out to a couple custom tent makers like Bear Paw Wilderness and talked to them about possibly making me something custom. And I even tried a Mountain Laurel Design Solo Mid XXL tent, which, by the way, is an awesome tent. I did just borrow this, so I didn't buy it, but my big problem with it is a modular system, which means it has 2 pieces. It has the actual tarp, so the tent, and it has an inner with a bathtub and a bug net. And for me, I just don't want to have to deal with multiple pieces. I want a tent that I can just throw out on the ground, stake it out, put my trekking pole in it, tension it, and it's ready to go. So even though this was a great tent and tons of room, by the way, if you don't have a problem with the modular system, it just wasn't really for me. Now, with looking at some new shelter options, there was one tent that used to exist that kind of ticked off all those boxes and I thought would be a perfect tent. So back in 2017, when I originally bought my duplex, I considered buying a tent that Z-Packs used to make called the Altiplex. It was essentially a hexamid that was made for taller people like me. Well, I ended up deciding to go with the duplex because I wanted a 2-person option, and unfortunately, Z-Packs stopped making the Altiplex later that year. So I started looking everywhere on gear forums, on eBay, on Facebook pages, trying to find a used one that I could buy secondhand. And in looking for one, I did a bunch of research and actually found out there were a ton of people that loved the Altiplex and wish that Z-Packs would have brought it back. Wish that they would still make it. And after getting a ton of comments and messages from you guys in some of my last videos, I decided to reach out to Z-Packs to ask if they would make me a one-off, if they would make me a custom Altiplex like the way that they used to make it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, for 2020 and the foreseeable future, the tent that I'll be using on all my hikes and probably for everything else because it's pretty perfect is the new updated 2020 Z-Packs Altiplex. The Altiplex is a fully enclosed 1 trekking pole DCF tent. It has a huge bathtub floor and a single vestibule with double storm doors. The Altiplex takes a minimum of 6 stakes to set it up. And the best part about it is it's huge. I'm talking tons of room for the head and foot end. I'm 6'1", and this tent, when it's set up properly, when it's pitched properly on good ground, is the largest tent I've ever owned. So far, I have not had to worry about my foot box getting even close to touching the wall. This thing is massive on the inside. So the old Altiplex that they stopped making back in 2017 weighed around 17 ounces, maybe a little bit over, but after updating the mesh, the seam tape, the line, and locks, the new 2020 Altiplex weighs in at 14.8 ounces, and that's with the stuff sack. So it's definitely the largest and lightest tent that I've ever owned. Now, before everyone thinks that Z-Packs gave this to me, and I'm sponsored by Z-Packs, and I'm being paid to make this video, nope. I paid for this guy full price, which was $585, which I believe was the original price of the old Altiplex. And yes, this is an expensive tent, and yeah, you could probably buy 5 budget tents for the same price that you could buy this. But keep in mind that I'm a long distance hiker. I don't just go out on weekends. So for me, I live out of a tent about 6 months out of the year. So paying $100 a month for rent is not too bad. What makes the Altiplex different from a bunch of other tents on the market and why it has so much room is because it has a taller peak. So by making the peak taller, it takes the walls, makes them steeper, and brings the walls away from your head and foot end. Well, the caveat to that is you do have to use a trekking pole that goes up to 58 inches. And in case you don't have a trekking pole that goes up to that, you have to use a pole jack, which Z-Packs does sell. Now, lucky for me, the trekking pole that I use is the new Knock carbon trekking pole, and it does go up to 58 inches, so I'm good on that front. Now, because I found so many people that wanted that tent to come back, because there were so many comments and messages that people sent me from some of my last videos saying that I'm 6'1", I'm 6'2", I'm 6'3", I wish that there was a taller tent. I sent all that stuff over to Z-Packs. I basically copied every single comment that you guys left. I sent it to the guys at Z-Packs, and I asked them if they would be willing to re-release the tent for everyone to use, and they considered it. So from what I understand, this week at some point, Z-Packs is going to be re-releasing the new 2020 Altiplex. Now, again, I'm not sponsored by Z-Packs. They didn't pay me to make this video. I'm just super excited to finally have a tent that kind of marks off all of those boxes of what I've been looking for the past 2 years, the past year. After using all these tents and spending all this money on all these tents, I finally have something that works for a taller hiker that wants a single trekking pole, simplistic DCF tent. And I think it's pretty awesome with the help of you guys, with all those comments and suggestions, that I got Z-Packs to re-release an awesome tent that they used to make. So I'll definitely end up doing a full review later in the year of the Altiplex after I put a bunch of miles on it, on the AT, in Peru, on the Colorado Trail, and the Great Divide Trail. So keep an eye out for that. But so far, this has been a pretty amazing tent. So what piece of backpacking gear do you think that some company should bring back, or some company should develop? What need is out there for something new on the backpacking gear market? Leave me something down below and let me know your thoughts. If you found any value in this video, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Now, I'm gonna take my tent and I'm gonna walk past this green screen. Told you it wasn't a green screen.